So the other day we touched on XDefiant and a few more things that seemed like were good signs in preparation for the game's launch, and since then there's been a few more additions to that story that we should talk about and the overall fate of the release for XDefiant. So as we go along, drop your thoughts down below. Thinking these are good signs, looking forward to XDefiant, whatever the case, drop your thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and drop a like on it, and consider subscribing for more XDefiant, COD, and frankly a bunch of other stuff apparently. Gonna be doing my best to talk more topics here in the upcoming futures, so if you'd like to join the community, I'd love to have you. Finally, check out my friends over at G Fuel for up to 30% off your entire order, but more on them a little later. For now, let's jump into XDefiant and a few more things you should know about. So to recap, here's where we are to date, where we left off per se. In the last week, we saw coins and in-game currency added to the platform storefronts of Xbox and PlayStation and such, rewards set up from Ubisoft in the shape of Battle Pass tier tokens, Battle Pass boosters, weapon XP boosters, and cosmetic packs, including a calling card, and another one for a weapon skin. And then also server tests with the status for servers being active for XDefiant for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC. What all these have in common is they're foundational items to XDefiant, right? I mean, like a free-to-play game is naturally going to have microtransactions. The studio's been very transparent with that, and they're not going to be doing this in a predatory nature, so they say, with crazy prices on top of a pay-to-play purchase of the game. That part we're not too focused on, but it's the fact the currency was ready to go. It was already set up on these larger platforms, something that normally only happens when a game is ready to go live. Rewards for Ubisoft being live and redeemable, whether or not they went through or not, who knows, but that also indicates that, okay, rewards are ready because the game should be, right? Similar to things like Twitch drops being listed, logically that checks out. And servers, why the hell else would a server be getting tested specifically for XDefiant at a public level, if not to prep for the launch of the game? So like all of those things as we mentioned happened, and it was certainly cause for discussion, but in the last few days since that video, we actually saw a bit more happen. Firstly, like 14 hours after we published that video, gotta love like the comedic timing here of this where we talk about it all in one and then just more stuff happens immediately after. XDefiant actually got an update on PlayStation for those that still had the beta application still installed. What's odd about this is that number one, it was a sizable update, and number two, it changed the application in a way that is rather interesting to consider. Firstly, when I say sizable, I'm not talking like a gigabyte or two or like a couple hundred megabytes. The update weighed in at nearly 9 gigabytes in size. Now, is that the largest size for an update? Absolutely not. I mean, seasonal updates for, say, Call of Duty are usually around 20 to 30 gigabytes in size, but the entirety of the XDefiant beta when initially launched was only 30 gigabytes. So when you have a third of the entire playable game from what we had last with our last hands-on being introduced via a stealthy update of sorts, it's interesting. I truly don't have any guesses as to what I could give in terms of what that could be for, but the interesting part beyond that is the XDefiant's beta app that was updated dropped the beta tag from the update and is now simply just XDefiant. So while there's nothing definitive about that, again, you add it on top of this stuff that seems to be foundational for the release of XDefiant, and it's strange to see it happening all at the same time. Now, we'll come back to that in a little bit because there is a bit more to that discussion here that is kind of mixed signals on the release of XDefiant here, a prospecting release of it, but since then we've also seen the introduction of trophies and achievements that appear to be for the full XDefiant experience. According to Twitter user DarkVolt, who I saw this from first, we have the following: MVP, which is to finish 3 matches as MVP, Buzzkill, which is to cancel 5 enemy ultras, All Grown Up, which is to reach player level 50, Weapon Master, which is for leveling up a weapon to level 50, Streaker, which is for achieving a kill streak of 5 or higher, Team Player to get 50 assists, Exterminator to get 50 kills, Winner to win 10 matches, Grand Tour to complete a match in 5 different game modes, Damage Dealer to deal 10,000 damage, Party Player to complete a match in a party, Defensive Player to heal or block 5,000 damage, and High Fivist to send or receive 20 high fives. So first things first, I mean, all of these are very relatively simple challenges. There's not really a whole ton that is super grind worthy or super like it's going to take you a while to get there. They're pretty welcoming challenges and achievements that can be achieved for anybody. The one thing that does sound kind of high though, but realistically isn't, is the Weapon Master challenge where you have to level a weapon to level 50, because if you remember the beta, gold camo was obtained after level 300 if I'm not mistaken. So you'll have stuff to grind for, but you're gonna get an achievement for ranking up a weapon way earlier than getting that gold camo. So 50 is just the start. But again, when it comes down to it, this kind of stuff, if you look at it, is usually only ever actually logged and categorized for achievements, trophies, whatever you want to call them, in a close proximity to a game's launch. I think with Call of Duty, we usually see this kind of stuff logged with PlayStation and Xbox a couple of weeks ahead of the launch, so it is something that now begs the question, is all of this again still in preparation for that hopeful last possible date of March 31st, capping off Q4 for Ubisoft's fiscal year? Now, I want to say yes, and I'm very hopeful that that's the case, but one thing that's recently come up is Tom Henderson, industry insider. If you guys follow the COD stuff, you know that he's pretty much right on a lot of what he reports here. Very good track record, but he seems to think that might not actually be the case, stating, don't expect to play it anytime soon. It's not canned, but it's just in a bit of a rut, and I expect it to miss that late March release. Could be wrong, though. So I love Tom. Me and him go way back. I worked with him years and years ago directly in some freelance journalism stuff, but this might be one of the only times where I'm praying for his downfall in terms of him being wrong. So far, this is kind of the only reports that we've seen of anything sort of going wrong. So fingers crossed, maybe that's a good sign. But at the same time, again, his track record is at least worth hearing out, where maybe we might have a little bit longer of a wait than we hoped. Mark Rubin also did chime in on multiple instances of wanting to say more but not having the ability to. When asked if they could get a sneaky launch for the game, he said, I feel your pain. I can't update you on a release date yet, unfortunately, but I've promised before that we won't shadow drop the game. As much as I possibly can, I will make sure that everyone has a clear date for when the game will go live. And when asked about more news, he said, I wish I could, in terms of providing it, which is kind of odd. It seems like the tone is a bit more unfortunate in nature, which makes me wonder if this is like a publisher issued no communication phase, because we haven't seen a whole lot of communication in the last couple of months, whereas beforehand it was pretty steady. Maybe in regards to like prepping officially, getting everything ready to go, or maybe it's something that they're still trying to lock down stuff, where they don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, where if something is still a moving part and they don't quite get it for launch, if they say it's going to be there, that could cause backlash. So we'll see how it all goes down, but who knows? It is something that it seems like everything is, again, very close to launching here, based off of everything now, the 5 pieces of the puzzle that we have that are sort of foundational items, but at the same time, maybe not. So we'll see where things go, but just wanted to fill you guys in and give you an update to the situation here that we talked about a couple of days ago. But that's what we're going to call it. So before we wrap everything up, I want to take a second to remind you that Code Espresso can get up to 30% off your entire order over at G Fuel. To me, G Fuel is my cup of coffee in the morning, gets my day and productivity going, and I'm sure there's a flavor out there for you if you want to try some. I'd personally recommend Pog Juice, Starfruit, Strawberry Banana, the Morbius Nectarine flavor, and a few others. But whether you want to try it out for the very first time, you want to grab like a starter kit, where you can end up getting a shaker cup and a few sample packs, that's always a great option. Or if you got a flavor or flavors of that you want to grab a tub or two, Code Espresso can give you a nice little discount if you're interested. So check the link in the description below if you guys would like to learn more. And again, Code Espresso at checkout, up to 30% off. But for now, that's what we're going to call it. So let me know your thoughts down below. Are you guys looking forward to what we've learned about XDefiant so far? Do you think we're just about at that finish line, or do you think there might be another delay in the works here that could potentially throw things off for a couple of weeks, couple of months? We don't quite know, but let me know your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things XDefiant, COD, and again, a ton of other stuff here on the channel upcoming. I'd love to have you. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.